To see the fully uncut version of this video, head over to patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons.
What's that like to live deliciously? Chaos reigns.
Please don't scream.
Nah, Sid, don't you blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
What's going on? My name is Jonjo Lyons, and today I'm here to present to you my review for Inside. Written and directed by Alexandre Bastillo and Julian Maury, Inside stars all of these lot. 4 months after the death of her husband, a woman on the brink of motherhood is tormented in her home by a strange woman who wants her unborn baby. Have you ever heard of the new French Extremity? Basically, it's a series of French films that push the boundaries of sexuality and violence, so of course I'm totally in love with this pocket of the genre. My first experience of new French Extremity was a film called High Tension, aka Switchblade Romance, a film that I'll be covering very soon. But after that experience, I came across a movie that somehow managed to exceed High Tension in its beauty and brutality, and that film is Inside. This movie ticks all the boxes for me with the single location, the ridiculous violence, and the fantastic performances, so let's not waste any more time. Get ready to reach the peak of Nicolas Cage faces in one video. This is Inside. The movie begins with a CGI baby inside their mummy's tummy. A voice tells the baby that he is safe inside her when there's a sudden crash and the baby smashes into the screen. Cut outside where we see a terrible car crash. Inside one of the cars is a severely injured Sarah who comes to next to her dead husband Matthew. She then rubs her pregnant belly and we cut back outside the wreck. Cut to 4 months later as Sarah gets a scan. She is told the baby is healthy and the doctor asks if she's picked a name yet, but she doesn't respond. He then says he'll see her back at the hospital tomorrow at 7 to have the baby induced. He asks if she has anyone to bring her back as it's Christmas and the ambulance service isn't available. I'm sure that's not how things work at hospitals on Christmas Eve, is it? If you fall down the stairs, you're f***ed. She says she does and tells him she'll see him then. Cut to Sarah sitting down when she's joined by a nurse. The nurse makes small talk about having kids, saying the first one is usually the most difficult, and it's clear Sarah is less than interested in speaking to her. She lights up a cigarette, revealing that after all that pain, her first child was stillborn before being told off by another nurse for smoking in the hospital. The nurse calls everyone there a pain in the butt.
Goodness.
Sarah's then approached by her mother. Outside, Mum tells Sarah that with the riots currently going on, she's glad she isn't out there taking pictures. She's a professional photographer, by the way, not some c*** with an iPhone, just to be clear. She then asks about Jean-Pierre and if they've banged, but Sarah quickly says that he's her boss.
C'est dommage. J'aimerais bien que tu me présentes un de ces jours.
No, Mum, it's been 4 months. Matthew's barely cold in the ground. I mean, I sucked his dick, but I'm not ready for him to meet you yet. Mum tries to invite her over for Christmas dinner, but Sarah isn't on that, saying that she wants to be alone. Good luck with that, pickle. I've seen the trailer. Cut to Sarah watching a young family in the park. She starts taking pictures of them when she's joined by her boss, Jean-Pierre. He argues on the phone with a colleague, then complains to Sarah about how half the suburbs are burning and there's no one there to cover it. He asks how she's been, saying it's been rough without her out there, but Sarah just says it's kids blowing off steam. She then hands him her keys and asks to be picked up at 6 AM, to which he agrees. He asks if she'll be with her mother tonight, but she says she doesn't care about Christmas and wants to be alone. He guarantees she won't say that next year, and we cut to Sarah being dropped off. Cut to sometime later as Sarah speaks to her mum on the phone. She tells her not to come to the hospital tomorrow and that Jean-Pierre will be driving her in the morning before hanging up. Cut to Sarah looking at a wall of pictures of her and Matthew. She looks like she's about to break into a smile when Matthew's hands hug her tummy. We get this beautiful music as Sarah turns her head to the memory of her lost love, and then that memory ends violently. Cut to Sarah knitting. We see this little meower and then the knitting needles as they fall from the sleeping Sarah's hand. She suddenly goes into a coughing fit and collapses to the floor where she vomits up. It's innit? Didn't expect any to drop in this film, let alone that volume. No. Anyway, she collapses to the ground and we watch the baby pull itself out of her mouth. Sarah wakes up to the sound of someone ringing her doorbell. She looks through the peephole but can't see their face in the dark. The woman on the other side says she has a problem and asks to use the phone inside, but Sarah says she doesn't have a landline and her mobile battery's dead. The woman says her car broke down and Sarah says that her husband has work in the morning, that he's already asleep. The woman persists, but Sarah tells her more firmly this time that her husband is sleeping.
Ton mari dort pas, Sarah. Il est mort.
The woman tells Sarah to open the door and Sarah asks how she knows her name. The woman says, "Open the door and I'll tell you," before banging on it more aggressively. Sarah threatens to call the police, then looks out a window and sees nothing. I would literally evacuate my bowels from every orifice available. Everything would come out all at once from everywhere. Vomit, shit, a splash of cum. Oh, it'd be a mess. The woman lights a cigarette as Sarah calls the police, who say a squad car will be with her in 5 minutes. The woman punches the glass, which splinters but holds strong. The spiderweb fracture of the glass is a metaphor for the woman's fractured mind. In an effort to see the woman's face, Sarah draws for the camera and starts snapping off pictures with the flash. And look at this fucking cool shot here. It's examples like this shot here that really make Inside stand out. This shot to me is simple yet masterful. From the movement to the framing to the change of perspective in the sound design. Fucking delicious. Back inside, Sarah pulls the camera from her eye and we see that the woman has vanished. Cut to Sarah developing the pictures. It's then she notices the same woman present in the pictures she took at the park. And if you're wondering, no, we can't actually see her in the original scene. She's just out of frame. Literally just out of frame there. The doorbell goes again as the house is filled with police lights. She invites the coppers in and they take a look around, finding nothing. She also shows them the picture, but it's too dark and they're unable to help any further. They assure Sarah that they'll be informing the night shift of this report and that she'll be checked on later before locking the shutters. As the cops leave, they comment on how quiet it is, it being Christmas, and Sarah says that it's always like this around here. Cut to a news report on the riots and then to Sarah dozing off on the sofa. And look at that perfectly trained little meower.
Province. Des passagers de bus, mais aussi des pompiers ou des policiers ont été blessés. Dans l'ensemble du territoire français, près de 300 communes ont été...
Wait.
avait demandé l'expulsion de 120 étrangers impliqués dans les émeutes, déclenchant de plus belle la colère des jeunes des quartiers dits sensibles.
Oh, sweet heavenly Jesus, what the fucking fuck? She's standing right fucking there behind her. Fuck off. Fuck all the way off, movie. The woman disappears back into the shadows as Sarah answers the phone. It's Jean-Pierre, who she asks to enhance the pictures that she took tomorrow and then gets ready for bed. Cut to bedtime with a cat that I'm becoming more and more concerned for as time goes by. Cut to Sarah's super cute CGI baby as she falls asleep. Really not a fan of this, I've got to tell you. It's okay. It's just a movie. We cut to Sarah sleeping with the woman standing above her silently watching. She exits and goes to the baby's room looking at all the new stuff ready for it. She rips open some baby clothes and takes a long hard sniff. The type of long hard sniff that your mum loves to take on my sweaty sweet spot. Just between the balls and butthole. Then heads to the bathroom. There, she gathers some supplies and then heads back to Sarah sitting down next to her. She takes off her gloves, exposes Sarah's tum-tum, and dips her scissors in what I'm assuming is rubbing alcohol. And then things get wild. The woman gently pulls the scissors across the belly, setting the blade into her belly button, and then pushes. The pair struggle with Sarah literally lamping the woman. Lamping is slang for punching someone in the UK, so that was for like 6% of my viewers. Right? The woman throws her weapon, hitting the wall as Sarah manages to get herself into the bathroom and lock the door. The woman beats the shit out of the strongest bathroom door I've ever seen as Sarah cries inside holding her belly. The woman gives the door one final kick and screams, touching her head and picking up a handful of blood. She stumbles back into the bedroom as Sarah switches on the bathroom light and sees the damage on her face. Then her water breaks. Cut to the woman in the kitchen taking care of her injury when she hears the door and is joined by Jean-Pierre. He goes into the living room, switches on the light and is met by the woman who he introduces himself to. Cut to Sarah, who crawls over to the bathroom door to listen. Cut back to Jean-Pierre and the woman as he tells her he was on his way to Christmas dinner and wanted to check on Sarah but can see that the mother got here first. You see, it's all good for her because he's never met the mum, which they subtly dropped earlier when the mum was trying to get her to f*** him. She says Sarah went to bed an hour ago and Jean-Pierre goes to see himself out when she offers him a drink, saying that she's been looking forward to meeting him. Cut to Sarah and then to Jean-Pierre as he asks the woman if she's looking forward to becoming a grandmother. She deflects, saying not to wake Sarah, and he apologizes. The woman then mentions the accident, saying Sarah has been through a lot and so has she. Jean-Pierre tries to comfort the woman but she quickly stands and offers him another drink. He then picks up the picture of the woman as we cut back to Sarah grabbing a knitting needle to defend herself. Back downstairs, Jean-Pierre asks when this picture was taken as he's sure it's the one that Sarah called about. Behind him, the woman starts to unsheath her weapon when...
Où est Sarah?
C'est peut-être à vous de nous dire qui vous êtes. On n'entre pas chez les gens comme ça. Puis parlez moins fort, Sarah, elle dort.
Oui, ma fille.
Sarah's real mother demands to know where her daughter is and storms upstairs as Jean-Pierre realizes the woman is the one in the picture. Sarah's mum then rushes to the bathroom ready to save her daughter when...
Ça va là-haut?
Whoops. Sarah calls out to her mother as she stumbles away, soaking the walls in her blood before falling down dead. Jean-Pierre then goes upstairs to check on the ruckus and... well... good lord! Everything back to square one, the woman slams her scissors into the bathroom door once and then drags Jean-Pierre downstairs as Sarah escapes the bathroom. And downstairs, this happens. Mate, it's okay. It's time to go to sleep now. Sleepy time for Jean-Pierre. Sleepy time. Sleepy time. Whatever Sarah's looking for, she can't find, so she rushes back to the bathroom, getting herself caught by the woman. The woman tears out a chunk of hair, and in retaliation, Sarah stabs her, snapping the needle off in her arm. The woman sparks a cigarette, and her madness starts to infect the film when... oh no.
Ouvre-moi ta porte.
Sleepy time for the me hour. Sleepy time for the me hour. Sarah tries to take a drink when the CGI baby kicks off in her tummy. The woman cries in the hallway and then starts cutting into the door again, demanding Sarah open it. Sarah instead smashes the mirror and grabs a shard, asking why her. The woman simply says she wants one. The woman starts to go mad again when this quiet moment is interrupted by the sound of a police car pulling up. Outside, we find some cops and a prisoner. They're there to check on Sarah before taking the criminal in. Inside, the woman paces back and forth before trapping Sarah in the bathroom and heading downstairs. Sarah starts chopping away at the door while the cops chat outside and the woman fiddles with something in the kitchen. Cut to two of the cops heading to the door while one of them waits in the car with the criminal. Sarah continues to chop while the woman picks up a knitting needle and opens the door. She pretends to be Sarah, says everything is fine, and when they ask what the noise inside is, she says it's the washing machine. She's clever, but not clever enough. The cops go to leave when one of them realizes something. Inside, Sarah manages to get her hand through the hole when the woman grabs it and pins it to the wall with the scissors. The cops knock on the door again, and when the woman opens up, they enter asking what she, the clearly not pregnant woman, is going to name her baby. Sarah then calls out and Baldy goes up to investigate while the other cop watches the woman. Upon seeing all the carnage, Baldy calls out to arrest the woman as he tries to help Sarah. The other cop goes for his cuffs, but it's a little bit too late as the woman attacks, shoving the needle into one of his eyes and then into his neck. That's when she notices the gun. Upstairs, Baldy manages to get the door open and is about to help when this happens. Whoa! Oh, holy shit! That was fucking amazing. Let's see it again. I love it, man. That's it's the money shot. Sarah locks the door again, but it's no use as the woman shoots the lock off and easily opens it. The cop outside hears the shots and grabs the criminal, dragging him in with him. Inside, they find the other cop and then head upstairs to find Sarah. He tries to calm Sarah down and gives the criminal this gnarly-looking double-barrel pistol as we see the woman once again creepily lurking in the background. They leave to look for the woman and then return saying she's gone. And that's when the power goes out.
Calmez-vous, calmez-vous. Un disjoncteur? Vous savez où il est?
Once again, pants filled. Just a mess of shit and cum. Let me know if you want that on a t-shirt, by the way. A mess of shit and cum. Jonjo Lyons reviews. The cop fixes up Sarah's hand, sticks a jumper on her and gives her one of the guns, telling her they're going to go and check the circuit breaker while she hides in the bedroom. Cut downstairs as they try to get the power on, and upstairs as Sarah lies on the bed and we get this awesome shot. Back downstairs, the men continue their work when they realise the double barrel, which they call a flashbulb, apparently it's some sort of riot control weapon, is missing. They freak out, backing up, pistol drawn when the flashbulb is raised to the cop's head. Upstairs, Sarah hears two shots, and when we see him, the cop is face down on the floor. The criminal searches for the cop's cuff keys when he's approached by the woman. She tells him to shush and then slams the scissors directly into his head. The boy briefly survives this and tries to fight back before dying. Cut upstairs as the woman climbs on top of Sarah and starts kissing her? Okay, wasn't expecting this. Bit weird, but I'll allow it. Sarah suddenly bites the woman's lip and then escapes downstairs as the woman gives chase. She, for some reason, can't get out the front door and grabs the knitting needle to defend herself, but gets the absolute kicked out of her. The woman drags her to the kitchen where Sarah gets to her feet and holds the needle to her belly, threatening the baby's life. How does the woman deal with this? Boom! Toaster, bitch! The woman then watches with a smile as Sarah coughs and chokes on blood. She goes to light another cigarette when Sarah grabs an aerosol can. Sarah, unable to breathe, pierces her neck with a needle, performing a tracheotomy. She then somehow gets to her feet once more and tapes up the hole. Next, she grabs a butcher's knife and this pipe, creating a spear, and we get this fucking badass shot. Sarah then moves through the house, taking pictures, searching for the woman, and as she does, we see the carnage all around the room. She eventually finds Crispy here, chilling in a cupboard, and it's then that we find out who the woman is and her motive for the attack. It seems the woman was the other driver in the accident from the start. She was the one doing the voiceover, and that was her CGI baby. The baby died as a result of the crash, and now she's come for her replacement. Sarah says that they told her there were no survivors when the lights come back on and we see the cop is still alive. Sarah approaches when we see the cop has been blinded and probably a little bit brain damaged by the whole affair. The cop starts beating Sarah when the woman comes to her aid, stabbing the cop before catching a bat into the face herself. The woman then stabs him in the chest, killing him. She picks up her scissors and approaches Sarah, who says the baby is coming. She calls out for her mother as the woman tries to comfort her. Sarah says the baby is stuck, and so the woman performs a cesarean section right there, opening her up and jamming her hands in as a river of blood runs down the stairs. Cut to some time later as the woman cradles the baby. She sits in the rocking chair as we cut to Sarah, opened up on the stairs, now dead. The woman rocks the baby as music starts to play and we hear the baby is still alive. She kisses its head and we cut to black. The end! Well, that has to be the most beautifully f***ed up movie I have ever seen. Inside is an absolute masterclass in independent horror cinema that I absolutely adore. It does everything right and is made even more impressive by the fact that this is the filmmaker's directorial debut. The story is a nice and simple home invasion we've seen many times before, so the filmmakers have to work hard in other departments to make it memorable, a task they achieve with ease. The performances here are fantastic, with a special shout out going to leads Alison Paradis as Sarah and Beatrice Daly as the woman. Alison carries the most weight, both literally and metaphorically, being the victim constantly under attack, slowly obtaining more and more injuries as the film goes on. She is able to keep up a level of desperation in her performance throughout that is heartbreaking. This is a woman fighting for her baby that refuses to go down right up until she goes all final girl at the end with the spear, and it's so good. She plays the part numb, vulnerable and powerful, reaching peaks and valleys throughout, and I found the entire performance mesmerizing. Then there's Beatrice as the creepy as hell woman. Her performance could have easily been one note, but like Sarah, the character goes to many different emotional levels, from quietly creepy to insanely violent to caring mother. Her creepy element is helped a lot by the filmmaking on display, but when she's front and center, kicking at that bathroom door, she's just as terrifying, and that's all her. I also love how similar the two characters are when interacting with others, namely Sarah and her mother and the woman and Jean-Pierre, as if the two are interchangeable and only made different by their respective accident outcomes. This makes it less about a villain and a victim and more about the theme of loss and what a person can be driven to by the misery of mourning. All the other actors in the film are perfectly fine, but really it's these two show, and they absolutely knock it out the park. Another element that makes this film stand out is the copious amounts of violence and gore. The effects for the most part are amazing and cringe-inducing as Sarah gets more and more messed up. The woman isn't afraid to f*** up other cast members as well, with Jean-Pierre and that one cop looking brutal by the end. The makeup is great, with the only real downfall in the effects being the CGI with the baby and the fire. I understand why they needed to have them in and why they look the way they do, but compared to the practical effects, they stick out. I really don't have anything else negative to say other than that. All in all, I love Inside. It's an exceptionally well-made horror movie that pushes the boundaries of gore while also delivering great performances and characters that you actually care about. Every aspect of this film is done to near perfection, and it stands as an example of pure horror making at its finest. So that was my review for Inside. What do you lot think? It's films like this that make me nervous to make my own, and it's like 15 years old as well. I should really look into the other later works of these filmmakers, but I'm scared I'm going to be disappointed. There's no way they're going to be able to top the violence. Speaking of which, if you want to see all of that savagery completely uncut and early, head over to patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons. There you'll be able to find the uncut version of this video plus others with more stuff coming soon. I just dropped a video about the best line delivery in a horror film in the history of cinematic history. That was fun. I'm currently going through all the old reviews that don't have uncut versions and re-editing them, and I've got a very special Patreon exclusive review dropping next week. It's for a short film that is so brutally savage that I'll never be able to upload it to YouTube. Even just the descriptions will probably get me an age restriction. It's literally just a dude f***ing a dead body for like 15 minutes. But anyway, you can gain access to all that madness for just $1 a month. You can pledge more if you want, obviously. Dead bodies don't store themselves, you know? So that's it for another week. If you have any suggestions for any films you'd like to see me review, please comment below, like the video, and subscribe if you haven't already. My name's Jonjo Lyons, and hey, the woman. Want a scissor?